おいバカ何してちょっとおい
静かにしてください。これは極秘事項なので。
極えあなんだ何が起きてんだこれ急に馬乗りで何を
Shiunji Family Children. I shared with you guys on the first episode. I genuinely did enjoy the first episode. I definitely don't want to sit here and lie and be like, no, I didn't actually like the first episode, or, I felt a certain way, et cetera, because that's just simply not the case. Like, I genuinely liked the first episode. Now, when it comes into the second episode, I'll just be straight up. I don't think it was really that good. Not really because of the subject material, the contextual material. It just, the episode overall was just very meh. Like, I didn't laugh. I wasn't like completely captivated by anything that happened, anybody, any character, anything. I did in fact enjoy seeing the outcome of what was going to happen with the shower scene between Kotono and between older brother Arata. That's the twist. That's the cliffhanger we got left off on last week. And that wrapped up pretty nicely, right? It wrapped up exactly like it should have. Arata being straight up to Kotono, being like, hey, being young's really weird. I know you love me. Like, he's like kind of giving like, I love you too, but like, you're my little sister. Like, I will protect you. I will be there for you. I will fill you up with love, not in that way, nasty. And I'll one day, walk you down the aisle. That's my dream as an older brother. But like this confusion is just not real love. And I think that was perfectly handled. I think he handled it just like you should handle it. And I had no problem with that scene again whatsoever. But ultimately that was over pretty quickly. And that wrapped up pretty nicely. So that is all A-okay. So no issue, whatsoever with how that ended up happening. The rest of the episode, though, was just a lot of will they, won't they, a lot of Shion, the older brother, talking about different scenarios. Then we had the 𝐒𝐻, which is the blue hair girl, kind of testing Arata. They're just sharing, very sibling stuff. He's helping her, He's helping her study, because she's failing a certain class. That was totally fine. Nothing riveting about that scene, nothing. It's just a fine, cute scene between them in a karaoke place, just being siblings, which I think is cool. There was a scene where Bonri, the older girl, was dressed up like in like a nurse outfit or something like that, and she was just trying to lighten the mood based on what Shion was saying. Nothing else really happened, Arata did get outed by Minami, like, oh, that girl you like has another boyfriend or something like that. So, that definitely occurred as well. So nothing on the crazy scale there. So now let's kind of switch gears into what I'm not really liking about this show so far, at least with episode 2 being kind of the subject matter of my liking or not liking. Again, I feel pretty meh about the episode, but I can tell there's going to be some things that are going to bother me as the show continues to unfold. First off, I'm trying to turn my brain off in that one section of my brain that's going, use normal person logic and apply it to this story that the author is trying to convey. That is almost level impossible for me. Because some of the things that I'm seeing here with the show is you have a really, based on what everyone said, like external characters, is we have a really good-looking dude. We have Arata, who is a good-looking to handsome dude. He's tall. He's athletic. He's decently intelligent because he gets pretty good grades. And he's rich. Those are 5 things that maybe his peerage, his other classmates, other boys in his level, they maybe have 1 or 2 of those things. Maybe they're tall but not good looking. Maybe they're good looking but not tall. Maybe they're athletic and good looking, but they're short. Maybe they're tall and athletic but not good looking. Maybe they have money but they don't have the other 4. So he has these 5 very unique characteristics, right? So in my mind, immediately with this news, my thing goes, go bulldoze the girl you like, go confess to her immediately. If that doesn't work, no problem. Go find another girl. There's hundreds of girls, I'm sure, at his school. Go get a girlfriend. And the reason behind that logic is you now have these sisters who you want to see as sisters. So that's basically what this character has told us is he only sees them as sisters. He wants to be a good older brother. He doesn't want to cross that barrier. There's not a barrier to cross. These are his little and older sisters. And one of them is his twin. So one of them's like his second half of his soul, which just because they're not blood related doesn't change that. Personally, the logical sense, being 16 years old, which he is, go get your first girlfriend. That will immediately set your life on the right trajectory. Maybe she's not the one, whatever, but you have 5 unique characteristics that he should be able to go bag a hottie that's not related to him. And I'm not talking about blood related, shares the same last name. You know, he should be able to go bag a hottie, no problem. Even if it's not the girl that he wants, go bag a hottie. And that immediately can set everything right because all of his romantic, all of the built up stuff can be projected to another girl. That's the play. And then he just allows himself the autonomy to really figure out his relationships with his other sisters, you know, and how to really navigate that without being tempted by his teenage sexual desires, to be honest. You know, I think that's the best play. Now, he's also expressed the character's written in such to where he's also shy. So that's like his bad characteristic is he's shy, he's timid, and for whatever reason, he can't go confess to the girl. So the other side of me is like, okay, why are you getting flustered by any of your sisters? Would you have gotten flustered before? Well, based on what the show has said, is the answer to that is strangely yes, because he's had moments with his sisters where he's gotten flustered before. That already is super weird. So again, I'm trying to not have that, you know, use realism and put it on this show because the realism and this show do not mix. So then I'm just like, okay, well, what's the middle ground? Well, the middle ground is just simply enjoying the content, which I could if they weren't related, even if it's metaphorically, you know, even if it's just a story being told. That's my main thing is this show definitely showed off a few things, right? It showed that Bonri, the oldest sister, has said she refuses to have, I didn't have no relations with that woman. She's like, I refuse to do whatever, but yet she is definitely the flirtatious type. And she maybe has some kind of side deal with the dad. The dad seems to like and love and trust her a lot. So he may even try to engage Bonri to Aruta just for family's sake out of some weirdo shit, because that's what these stories do. Then you have Seiha, who's already shown us that she's willing to cross barriers just to scientifically, biologically prove that her and Aruta couldn't be a thing. And she might be some weirdo to kind of push that to like some like it's almost in, but do I feel anything? Like she might be like that kind of person. So that's already shown us that. Then you have Minami, who Aruta's already shown us that like he has some level of he thinks she's pretty, basically. And they get along. He said that, you know, they have the most, he's able to be himself the most with her. Okay. Then you have Oka, which is his second half, which is his twin. At least that's what he thought beforehand. And just based on that, right, like twins tend to share a deeper bond and connection with each other. And even though that they're not blood related, you can't really turn that off. But can that be confused for something romantic? Totally. And that's probably what's going to end up happening. And Oka's going to wake up to it. Aruta's going to wake up to it. Do I love that? No. And the last one, Kotono, which she is the most like, she is bullish. Like she is like, he's a red piece of cloth and she's a bull. She's ready, like she bared it all to him straight up. Like she's ready to do whatever it takes to make that happen. So it's like, okay, so I'm trying to make peace with all of that. And then I think for me to continue watching the show, truly for me is it funny? The two genre defining things that this show has or the two genres is it comedy and romance? Can it have the comedy? If this is effing funny, which episode 2, and I'll really say episode 1 wasn't either, but if this could be genuinely funny, if it could produce a lot of like moments, I am so down to look past all the other stuff. But if it's also not funny and it has this content, this story, if it has this story that's also not my cup of tea, I probably won't make it past episode 5. But anyways, my friends, we're gonna go to episode 3. I'm gonna cross fingers and toes that it's a pretty good episode. But episode 2 just wasn't that good, and it kind of sucks because episode 1 I thought was good. Good. It was good, not the best. It was like a 7 out of 10. It was good. This one was more like a 6 out of 10. It was just fine. So, yeah, those are my feelings right now for Shiunji Family Children. As always, these reviews, I'm all over the effing place. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments below. And can you get past some of these barriers when it comes from a storytelling perspective, just for the sake of ecchi, maybe? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. All right, my friends, we'll see you guys next week for episode 3. Peace.